even if I put something here later on, it's gonna change, and the market will. It will pluff. It will plop, or they will accept. And you gotta get out to the market, test your idea.
It's time to down tools for a bit. Welcome to the ToolShed, the influential podcast for anyone and everyone involved in the building industry. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
Hey there, before we kick off, I want to share a really important thought. 71% of you who watch this channel frequently don't subscribe. So if you've enjoyed any video you've ever watched, can you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button? It helps the channel more than you think, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests get. So let's go. Hey there, I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. Welcome to another episode of the ToolShed Podcast. In this episode, I'm talking to Joey Hidalgo from the Measurement Company. This is part 2 of a conversation. So if you haven't listened to part 1, there'll be a link in the description to go back to part 1 and catch up with the first part of the conversation. And you won't want to miss that. The other thing you need to do is hit the subscribe button and manage the notifications so you get notified every time a new episode comes out, just so you won't miss out. In this episode, or this part of the conversation, the second part of the conversation I had with Joey, we're unpacking the mindset of a successful business. And I think it's something really important. It's something we can learn a lot from somebody like Joey, because he has migrated from another country into Australia with all of the pressures that bring, plus starting up a brand new business. And you know yourself that the vision that you had for your business when you got a few miles down the road with your business, they didn't match up. How you thought it was going to be and how it ended up were two completely different things. So managing that is really important. We got some great ideas from Joey. So enjoy this podcast. Before we jump into the second part of the conversation, I want to remind you about the Builders Freedom Readiness Scorecard. If you've been in business for 10 years plus and still suffering some financial stress and some time freedom challenges, with 2 minutes, just answering some simple questions, we will deliver you some ideas, some simple things that you can implement into your business that can impact the level of distress that you have with finances, lower that stress levels, but also increase the amount of free time that your business can give you. So if that's something that you'd like to explore and you're happy to invest 2 minutes, click the link in the description. So off we go. Enjoy the second part of my conversation with Joey Hidalgo. But I just want to change gears here.
Go.
You've been in business for a few years.
7 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of years, you know.
Thank you.
What do they say?
We're surviving.
Yeah. Something like 90% of businesses fail in the first 3. So you're doubling a bit of that. So that's good. But like moving away from what you do, I want to tap into your experience about building your business, because what we're trying to do on this podcast is to give the listener some ideas about how to better build their business. And so my question is, you would have had a dream about your business. You would have had, a vision of your business before it started, and you thought it's going to be like this, and we'll be able to do this, and we'll have this, and we'll have this experience and what have you. And it didn't work out that way. So tell me some of the things that you thought were going to happen with your business that didn't happen, and what was the lesson that you learned when you found out how it really was when you built your own business?
I'm an innovator, thinker
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Right. And I always think that what I think is right, and there's no other better idea aside from what I thought about.
Mhm.
But here it is. Even pandemic, I think that's one of the key things is we did jump in, me and my wife, said, let's do this. I think we can make it work, and there's a market in here. But obviously a lot of things that we thought about, because I like journaling, Mick.
Yeah.
There are things that I really write down, and I said I want this, this, and that, and eventually I just put it back, and I don't look at it. In a few years' time, I will also look at it and say, "Hang on, I'm already building it now." And one of the things that, to answer your question, was initially I had that created that business model canvas. I always have that one of the first thing I invested when I run this when I started my business is I want to make sure I get a big whiteboard. I can also scribble all my thoughts in there. I created that nine box canvas, right, from Strategizer, right? Because that's what I learned. I learned to strategize, and here it is. I might, if I remember right, 20 iterations, and then I stop because
Mm.
you know what? Even if I put something here later on, it's gonna change, and the market will. I mean, it will pluff. I mean, it will plop, or they will accept it. And you gotta get out to the market, which is what Steve Blank was saying as well. Is you gotta get out, g- test your idea.
Yeah.
And we always think that our business, me and my wife, we're still always keep our toes. This is still a startup. We're still a startup until now, and we're building Lego pieces of every portion of the business, little by little, because it's so hard to actually put everything right away. And here you are, you had a big pile of, I mean, uncoordinated expense of expense. I mean, yeah, and we we like the idea of bootstrap from the get-go,
Mm.
which I we started the business from. I only have, like, I think on my savings was 2 grand. Yeah, I mean, obviously you bought a lot of stuff already. I mean, being in Australia, and you got cars, right, and in house, right. But here you are. um we kind of look at other stuff that we could say save as well. So the very fundamental thing that I would say is learn to understand the true value of numbers. Even if
Mm.
your business is growing, let's just say, for example, right, you can buy a quick, simple hack, right? I would say you could buy lemon tea iced tea at this much, but if you go to another place, it's gonna cost like $50. Why would you? Why would you? I mean, because you're a high flyer now.
Mm.
No, I mean, as you get to understand that where are the things are, and that's becomes the profitability aspect of the business. It's most important is how lean you can still be, and then later scale up.
Yeah.
So I would say we are on a certain pace of our business that we are really ready to scale, and we're working towards scaling it in that with the help of what the client needs, not because of what we want to happen.
Mm.
And like I said, there are clients who even circumnavigated the system we created. They say, you know what? Why would we go against the flow? That's what's really happening. Why don't we just come in a way that it's still mutually beneficial, and they support us with our, our mission of, creating more jobs to people.
Yeah.
So we went back. Obviously, we went back saying, "Hang on, what's really the overall mission? What's the overall vision of this company?" And here we are now. I mean, where I've been scribbling on my notes, I said I really want to help a lot of people, right? If I can help a lot of people get jobs, and my job is that's my job now.
Yeah.
Technically, help them get a job. So on the founder's perspective, I would say, and always really appreciate the effort of my wife. I mean, obviously she's doing everything a lot in the background and letting me. So that's my perk, by the way. So this whole thing, this business is husband and wife business,
Yeah.
and I would not be able to take it off to where it is now. Not, without my wife.
Yeah.
And running, someone running the back end, that obviously quietly operating at the back end. I couldn't thank her enough.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I'd be transparent. I just bought her. I mean, every time I buy a new phone, I get the new one. Then I said I bought her first, the latest one, before I get my new one. I said, and he said, "Why are you buying me now? You don't always buy me the latest." Well, because before we're bootstrapped, and we're
Mm.
still bootstrapped right now. I said, "No, you deserve it." And there's more things in here that we're gonna change in the way we operate. And well, I'm gonna disclose it now. So we had a chat. I mean, we had that conversation. I've been saying, well, you gotta lead now the operations. You gotta be up there now to become the CEO of the company. And me as the founder, I'll focus on building this partnership relationships out there, which is where I'm good at.
Mm.
Operational wise, I mean, I just mess things up, and I say, you know what, I'll back off on that bit. But I mean, and I focus on being the CLO instead of the CLO with Chief Learning Officer, right?
Mm.
So if I'm that, I can train a lot of people and focus in that bit. And as we grow, and these people, and I always look at it as well, Mick, that our success is not measured because of the quantity of people that we were able to bring in. I mean, we always celebrate that when we put one person to another client of ours, we're happy. I mean, that's already a celebration because that changes someone else's life and the company of the business owner's life as well, because they're able to buy their time, and they're able to enjoy more time with their kids. So same principle that we're applying with us, that's what we're doing. So we're professing internally whatever we're doing, and also what our clients should have, and also the people that works with us should have. So I think it's just the congruence from the inside towards the outside is very important
Mm.
on in any business that we build.
You mentioned journaling, which sort of, to me, the mindset. Like the original question was what have you learned about business? And one of the things that I've come to the conclusion of is there is nothing more important than growing your thinking, growing your mindset, managing your emotions and your thoughts significantly better over time is probably the most profound thing you can do to contribute to the success of your business. And you mentioned journaling, which is an activity that I highly recommend. And you talked about the big whiteboard and multiple iterations of what the business would look like, and mapping it out and seeing the vision and fleshing the vision out in theory first, just before going for it. And I just want your thoughts on the importance that you place on working on your mind on a regular basis, and how important having that vision is versus just, I've got this bit of an idea about a business, let's go for it, I'll back myself, and you're flying by the seat of your pants with no real clarity on the vision or what you want to accomplish, and that journaling, without that, I think you're kind of unpacking what you are thinking and feeling on a daily basis. It's just so important. So you can look at that from a third party perspective. What are your thoughts, beliefs, and practices as far as managing your mindset for your business?
Um, creating that routine is very important,
Yeah.
because you can predict, and I'm able to train my brain to think when I need them most. And oftentimes we come across some situations that I would say challenges as well, running a business. But since I also create that space where my mind can always, I mean, wander, right?
Mm.
I always love that. I mean, because I don't do that often now, but I do, I mean, meditation. I
Yep.
also do, well, sometimes my meditation is very simple, just in the shower, thinking my thoughts. But I want to make sure I grab that idea once I have that epiphany moment in that shower, and then say, okay, I'm going to write this down. And And what else? I always love listening, new ideas, new concepts, audible. I mean, I always like. I mean, I prefer listening instead of always visual. Just let that thing play on a background.
Mm.
That creates already a new um, mental map that later I might be. Oh, I remember this. Ah, this is a good idea, and I operate in that level because there are people, I would say, operate more on the prefrontal cortex
Mm.
model.
Mm.
I would say I'm on, maybe on a. I mean, I might actually be more on the um 80%. Um, I mean, 20% prefrontal cortex, and then 80% more on really on imagination, on ideas.
Yeah.
and and some people might say, ah, I mean, how can you come up with your logic? Yeah, I understand that, but the thing is, I don't operate like the others who always have like 80% on prefront. I mean, that Goldilocks, right? I love that book from David Rock. I'm not sure if you've heard of
No, I haven't.
um yeah, so I believe he's an Australian I mean, I can't remember if I don't think he's a scientist, but so neuro I mean, it's about that leading by, what do you call that? I forget the exact I mean, title of the book, but anyway, you can search him out. He's a very very good analogy of, we have our prefrontal cortex is like a stage,
Hmm.
right? Every time we have more people on the stage, that is like the elements, and we can only handle a couple of information on the stage, yeah, like
Yep.
three elements at the same time.
Yep.
Now if you jam pack that with a lot of things, that creates a lot of chaos.
Yep.
So what I try to do is eliminate possible noise, so my back end can actually accommodate a lot more to the frontal. Yeah, my approach is very different. I mean, some people say no, lessen what's in front. No, but I try to wonder a bit more, because all of these things at the back can give me the solutions that I need from I mean, to the front.
Mm.
So so um I think that's a very very different approach than others would say. I veer towards on really on having a bit more time myself. I do, I mean, go to the gym. And the other thing that I would I mean, I would say very different, Mick. I cannot stay in a place that I'm always just by myself. Like
Mm.
I think you might have read that book, Never Eat Alone, right?
Yep.
Even if I'm not eating, I mean, oftentimes I'm talking to someone. Even if I'm just on a phone, I'm
Mm.
talking to someone. I'm bouncing off ideas or talking about the opportunities, and it's so hard for me to shut off, because if I shut off, the only time that I would shut down is, hang on, I really just want to sleep. I think my brain is already, I mean, full of ideas, and then I mean, before I sleep, I write down the notes or things that I haven't done, so just to leave that off, and then like how we create that dopamine hit in our head, saying, oh, I think you write it down, I think you almost done it, right?
Yep. Yep.
um but it's there, at least you park that somewhere, and then you can revisit that.
Yep.
So and I truly believe that even if we have AI, right, which I constantly use right now. I talk to AI saying, okay, I mean, although I like writing as well, I also say, I got this idea, and I call him Charlie. So I call my own my own duplicate AI, saying, I call him Charlie, saying, hang on, Charlie, have a look at this and that, and I converse and bounce off my ideas now on AI. I mean, I know they say, oh, you're putting everything out there, whatever, but the thing is, this thing that I built somehow influences already with my ideas, and that can actually bounce off ideas as well.
Yep.
Um, and to share you another crazy hack that I've learned is that make your AI saying be a ruthless mentor. Tell me if my idea is shit or not. Yeah, and then and test it in any way, shape, or form. Any way that I would have a better outlook,
Mm.
right? Because oftentimes we get to get someone, and technically it's like, if I can just say it, can you be more worse than my wife? Because I know my wife will actually say things to me that won't other people won't say, right? So I said, you gotta give me this. And oftentimes that's also the dynamics of actually running a business with a wife, right? um there are ideas that we feel is right, but they're gonna challenge it, and truth be told, she would say, I already told you that. Yeah. so 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 yeah, I'm just hard-headed, so
Yeah.
most of the time, but when I realize, hang on, she said that. Yeah, okay, let's not do
Yeah.
that.
So there's been quite a few little pearls of wisdom in just what you said there, and sort of in wrapping up, I just want to make sure that people pick those things up. One of the things that I wrote down was CLO. I thought that's a great area of responsibility to fulfill in your own business, the Chief Learning Officer. You know, very few people will make a concerted effort to block out time for learning. And it's like we're either growing or we're dying. It's the law of never-ending improvement. And if you're the chief learning officer, you have a responsibility to continue to learn. So I love that. Thank you for that. You also talked about routine and meditation, absolutely critical points for anybody. Like rather than, just getting up and taking every day as it comes, you've got to have a routine to prepare. All successful people, whether they're sports people, artists, musicians, business people, have routines. You talked about meditation. You've got to have that quiet time. You talked about listening, about Audible, and you also talked about, which I thought was outstanding, was eliminating noise. Like you've got to have a process to eliminate noise. Otherwise, the noise can take over. You can't make decisions. You miss things. You can't hear things. So absolutely fascinating points that you've made. So just wanted to thank you for taking the time to chat with me on the podcast. It was a bit of an effort to make it happen, but we made it happen, and it was a really enjoyable conversation. Lots of value bombs there. We'll make sure we've got the measuring company link, so any builders out there that are wanting to get a hand with estimating and look at the opportunity that's available to you to get a hand with that, to reduce the amount of time and potentially errors that might be happening, I think is a great idea. So reach out and have that chat with Joey at the Measuring Company. We'll also make sure that we put the link into the podcast, so we'll have that in there as well. And I'm sure that we'll be talking to you again. But just thanks very much for sharing your knowledge and being generous with your time for being on the podcast.
Mick, I truly honored to be a guest on your show, and I've been following you for a while, and I hope I did justice at my own way, and and I also noticed that we are actually utilizing some technologies out there very similar. And one of the technology that we are using is letting people diagnose their situation, because oftentimes people say, uh, "Oh, they already have a problem. There's already like a chronic thing happening in their business, but they don't see it as a problem." I know you have your own scorecard. I do have my own scorecard too on my own LinkedIn. So yeah, they can just check it out on my LinkedIn. They can click on it, buy back your time on estimating, and that, at least you don't have to come to me, but at least that will give you a roadmap or an insight And I truly like as well what you've done, your own scorecard as well, because that creates a roadmap for them to connect. Because there's a piece of the puzzle on every business. Let's say for contracting, there is this department that technically, even if you run a business yourself as a business owner, when you started that, that's the hat that you would first wear, and the only last hat that you would remove when you're closing your business, which is estimating. I don't think you would not. I mean, being a business owner as in the contracting space and trading and builder, you should still understand the numbers, because if you don't, I mean, you're on la la land, and hopefully, I mean, I don't think your business will last. If I mean, harsh truth, but that's the typical situation out there for some people saying, "Oh, I don't understand the numbers." Right?
Mm.
Well, you better understand that numbers, because you won't last.
Mm. Yeah, no, good point. And we'll make sure we put the link to the scorecard, your scorecard, in the description as well. So thank you very much for being on the podcast. I'm sure we'll be talking again.
We will. Thank you so much, Mick. Speak soon.
So that's it for this episode of the ToolShed Podcast. I really hope you enjoyed my conversation with Joey. If you haven't listened to part 1, there's a link in the description to be able to listen to that first part of the conversation where we talked a lot about the do's and don'ts and the challenges of accurate estimating for a building business. We'll be back with another episode of the ToolShed Podcast. Before you know it, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you manage the notifications so anytime we drop a new episode, you'll be notified, because you don't want to miss out. I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. That is all. I am out. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the ToolShed. If this podcast struck a chord with you, make sure you spread the word by sharing it with your mates in the building industry. We love your help to make the building industry better for everyone involved.